will try to briefly describe her. What do you need? You need answers to the Jeopardy program? Mary Lou. I remember sitting on the end of the bed in Hot Springs, her in her throne, watching Jeopardy, and she was, of course, clicking off every answer. And I said, gosh, you should go on there. And she said, what do you have to do? And I said, well, you have to answer those questions. She said, they give you money for that? Yeah, they do. You need freehand monogramming. People thought she had a monogramming machine. Nope. She just lit up that presser foot and away she went. Towels for every graduate in high school, in Warren High School. You need dill pickles made on halves with local farmers. Yep, you bring the bushel, she puts out the jars of pickles with the date that they can be opened after they've properly seasoned written on top. Do you need the word gelatinous used in a sentence? First time I ever heard that word, it came out of Mary Lou Martin's mouth. Do you need the key of the elevator bell or the train? She's got it. I remember one time also in a different hotel room at Hot Springs, she and Sarah Wall, who was the director at Monticello High School, and I were getting ready to go to bed. We'd spent the day. Now, Mary Lou didn't go to sessions, you understand. She sat on the balcony at the Majestic Hotel with her cup of coffee and her packets, and had, perfect pitch, so she knew what they sounded like. And, she put some in the trash and some on her stand there. She had individual servings of coffee long before anyone else. She took her bread sack, she put one package, what was needed for one pot, rubber band. Next pot, rubber band. Next pot, rubber band. And she never went anywhere without her can of Lysol. Or maybe you just need some advice for a still wet behind the ears choral director. That was me. She was your one-stop shop. With a listening ear and a shoulder to cry on, thrown in for good measure. I'd known Mary Lou's son, Marty, and her band director husband, Kip Curry, for many years because I grew up in band at Hamburg High School. But it was in August of 1981 when I took the first high school job I had at Drew Central High School that my principal said, you're supposed to go to something in Hot Springs, call Sarah Mary Lou. And that's how it began. She was a mentor, a bonus mama a lot of times, and a good friend. She grew up in Perryville where she played piano and basketball. If you knew her, you know she was very tall, and she was a force to be reckoned with on the basketball court and could palm a basketball with no problem at all. In her senior year, there was a disagreement in her mother's kitchen by the coach and the piano teacher about which event she would attend. In true Mary Lou fashion, she did them both. She attended Arkansas State Teachers College, UCA, where she and Curry met. They were in a group called the Top Hatters that some musicians put together, some music students. And of course the rest of them were gentlemen, well, they were men. But they always placed the piano near the exit door of the club so that if it got raided or if some patrons got out of hand, she could just shift out before something happened. After graduation, they accepted band and choir positions at Warren High School. They got married during Christmas break so they could legally teach in the same district. They were married 59 years before he preceded her in death. They raised 3 bright and talented children. Marty Martin, who retired as the band director in Hamburg. Shelley Martin, who's here with us today, who is a music educator and professional flautist, I'm never sure, of Hot Springs. And Dr. Lucinda Hemmick, who is an educator and researcher in Long Island, New York. She taught and influenced thousands of children in rural southeast Arkansas when that wasn't a place. And she sent each one out better than she found them. They became business people in every field, parents, church leaders, and professionals, many of them music educators in both band and choir. I remember when she was getting ready to retire, and she told me she had taught for 34 years, and I thought, if I knew how I had to do that, I would just stick a fork in my eye and be done. I retired after 40. She led the Warring Choirs to numerous awards and honors. Many of the things that we have available to receive recognition from now weren't available then. She was legendary in her attention to detail. She directed madrigals, girls' ensemble, and the mixed chorus. She was always helping with the band. She taught flute lessons. She conducted the majorette weigh-ins and coached them. She designed and perfected their routines. She helped put out the fire batons and the flaming jump ropes at football games at times. She did all the chili for the chili dogs in the football concession stand. They sold so well that at one point they put up a sign that said thousands and thousands sold. She was known probably nationwide for her dill pickles. Like I said, she got the cucumbers on halves from local farmers. She pickled them, wrote the date they could be opened on top, and they got half and she got half. Her cookies, we fight over the recipes for it. It's like, oh, I found one, and everybody shares it, you know. They were amazing. In choir, she was also famous for her ability to accompany perfectly at first sight, and for her mentoring of hundreds of students and young teachers. She was a stickler. There was no gum. I mean, you better not even have an empty paper that smelled like gum in your pocket. The length of the robes and the height of the heels. Every year, besides all the ARC CDA events, they also performed a major work, this small choir in Southeast Arkansas, that were phenomenal. She also taught private piano lessons for many years. Not only did she monogram, she also sewed and altered. Two of the sayings that I remember so well was, she was accompanying me at festival before we had CPA, and we had done a number, and I turned around to wait on the judge's approval to move on to the next. And she said, and started playing the accompaniment for the next song. So we sang it. She later told me, your time is just as important as theirs. You don't have to wait on them. Her other statement pertaining to students was, don't ask, they might tell you. And they did. She also played pipe organ for the Warren Methodist Choir for over 20 years. She loved quilting. She made quilts for all her children and grandchildren. She never went anywhere without her home concocted bag in which she carried all of her real rings. At night in the hotel room, we'd play with them and see which one would best. None of them looked as good as they did on her piano playing fingers. She had former students 3 or 4 ladies who became her Florida girls, and they went there every year. Correct me if I'm wrong, did she not skydive or parasail in her 70s? 60s. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. When she left this world on April the 23rd of 2012, it was never quite as bright, because she was held dear in so many hearts. And I just thank you all for sharing her with me. Mary Lou Martin.